17 hits tonight, 16 singles. Very unique type of baseball game. Kind of just killed them slowly. Just your general thoughts on the offensive output.
Yeah, I mean, I a lot of singles, which was great. Putting together some good at bats, and to their credit, they made a couple of really nice plays up against the wall that could have gone for extra bases had they not made those. But I think at the end of the day, you're always happy with the number of hits, when they get up to that high. But hopefully, it would have been nice to have the knockout blow there maybe a little bit earlier and really put together a big-time crooked number with a lot of base runners. But, it was a better offensive performance tonight, top to bottom.
Last year, things kind of got away from you guys in the non-conference slate. And this year, you're faced with the prospect of a similar thing happening. How do you feel more kind of prepared to deal with something like that and keep it from happening now in your second year?
Well, I think you have to keep things in perspective. We've had a couple of tough road trips, where Mississippi State's not an easy place to play. Oklahoma State's not an easy place to play. We put those early in the season by design. We wanted to get exposed and see what we needed to get better at. And you don't do that by playing powder puffs early on. So, for us, certainly we would like to have a little bit better record against those guys, but on the same token, it lets us know where we got to get to. It lets us know what we have to improve upon, and those are things that you don't find out sometimes until it's too late if you don't do that. So for me, it was understanding that I don't feel like, but maybe a couple of those games we actually got beat. We beat ourselves in the other ones. And for me, that's what these guys need to see and understand. It's not always about the talented team. It's the team that goes out and does the fundamental things that we preach upon correctly. And if you don't, you're going to get exposed, which we did. So, Irvine came in here and smoked us because they did the little things right, and we got exposed on some stuff. So, but it's all that to say. We're learning. Well, we have to get better. We know that. We understand that. And you don't know if you have to get better until you get exposed in those things. And we have. So now we got to adjust and get better.
You mentioned earlier in the season, obviously when the team started 5-0, that you liked your 1 through 9. Obviously when losing occurs and streaks are fluctuating, you kind of have to mix things up. But dramatically, I think you have with Luke Hill and Wyatt Crenshaw now up there at the 1 and 2 spot. Especially during non-conference season before the real season kind of gets going. Do you anticipate more lineup changes? Do you like so far in this small sample size what your 1 through 9 currently is doing? What do you make of their production so far with what you have?
I think there's still some guys that we're trying to get some things ironed out. I mean, Luke Keishel's a tremendous offensive player and hasn't really caught fire yet. Campy's just starting to swing it the way he's capable of. Luke's off to a good start. Crenshaw's off to a good start. Toby, I don't think is swinging to his full potential just yet, nor is Raj. And then you got Jax and New that are freshmen that are learning and still have some things to iron out, but the potential is there. You got some good veteran guys like Cano and that have contributed as of late. And let's not forget, we're without Ethan and we're without Nick McLean as well. So, those are two of our, in the fall and in the spring, those have been two of our better bats. So we're without those two guys. So I think, obviously time will tell what's going on with Ethan here, hopefully soon. But, if we get fully healthy and get clicking on all cylinders, I do. I love the 1 through 9. So are we there yet? No. We got to get better. We have to get better at two-strike approach and laying off breaking balls in the dirt, but I think the potential for 1 through 9 to be pretty good is definitely there.
I think it was 23 strikeouts over the 2 games against Oklahoma State and only 3 tonight. Much different, a very different opponent. But in terms of at-bats and working at-bats and staying patient, I guess is what you were just alluding to. What did you see from the plate today that was a difference, compared to the Stillwater series?
Yeah, we addressed that, and we've been addressing that, frequently, more frequently than we would like. But they're probably tired of hearing us talk about it, so that's why maybe they decided to make a little bit of an adjustment tonight. But that's something. In order to get on a streak, you can't be punching out double-digit times every night against, especially against good teams. You gotta make them earn it. So something we've addressed. Some obviously we have to get better at. Tonight was, we didn't face the 95-mile-an-hour arms tonight, but those guys, watching their video, they throw good movement up there and have an idea how to pitch. And their stuff isn't quite as electric as what we've seen in the past, but they're still capable of getting guys out. So when you take that as a whole, I think our overall approach was much better. A lot of guys didn't try to do too much and pull off. They stayed within themselves in the middle of the field, and we racked up quite a few hits. So overall, the offensive approach was better.
I'm feeling, you said you weren't surprised by Wyatt's early season tear. I'm feeling you'll probably say something similar about Cano, but what can you say about what he's kind of provided the last couple of games? He got 4 knocks, including a ball.
Well, I think Willie's a little different story than Wyatt, in the fact that he's had to wait his time here early on, and he understands the situation he's in. He understands the role that he's come in here to be ready, and he knows he's behind some talented. I don't want to say behind, but the freshmen are getting an opportunity to play here early, and he knows his role, and he's known to stay ready because we're going to need him at some point. And with a few injuries here and some a little bit of growing pains from some of the younger guys, he's starting to get opportunities, and he's making the most of it. So he hasn't complained. He hasn't moped around. He's been a positive attitude, positive influence in the clubhouse, and now that he's getting his opportunity, he's had a great 2 games here. He's earning it, which is couldn't be happier for him.
You got 84 pitches, 6 dominant innings out of Ross. He referred to Davis as not exactly the Vanderbilts of the college baseball world. So how important was it for him to kind of get a nice launch pad in the Pac-12?
Well,
kind of a get right game.
Usually Davis is a capable team. I'm not going to say that we're not going to take them lightly. At least they better not be, because that's how you get beat. So for that be said, I don't agree with that necessarily, but their name's not Vanderbilt, of course, but they're capable. So you can't take them lightly. But there's things that Ross did well tonight, and there's things he can improve on. He did attack with his fastball, which was good, but we got to land breaking balls more. I don't know how many strikes he threw on the off-speed pitches, but we got to get better at that. So I think that's something he understands. And walking the first hitter of the game, it's like, man, we got to be ready to go, man. Do you want me to? How critical do you want me to be? Do you want me to let that slide? Because if you want to say against Vanderbilt, that probably runs scores somehow. So you can't allow that to happen. You got to come ready to pitch. So to his credit, he settled down and did well and gave us 6 strong innings. So, but I think there's certainly room for improvement.
And speaking about him, you attack the transfer portal, bringing in some big arms to improve the rotation and bullpen and things like that. Probably the last time we'll see Ross before conference play with Utah. Do you feel that a decision can be made in terms of who those guys are going to be, or do you still have some more things to iron out in terms of the pitching staff as far as Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Where do you feel Ross kind of fits into that through this non-conference play?
Well, we've started him on Friday. The whole year. He hasn't done anything to lose that. But he just got to understand that we got to get better. We got to improve. And whether or not we'll keep it that way, going into Utah, we'll see how this weekend shakes out. There's some other guys that are, that aren't the big name guys that are throwing the heck out of the ball and giving us an opportunity, that aren't walking guys, that aren't beating themselves. And to me, that's what we preach upon, is you can't win games if you're beating yourself. And Matthew Teeding and Jonah Giblin have done nothing but pound the strike zone. And it's no secret that why their numbers reflect that they're not beating themselves. So, those guys have been outstanding, and we'll see how this weekend shakes out. So I think Jonah's probably going to start on Sunday. He's going to get an opportunity to do that. He's earned it. And for me, it's guys. I'm not going to watch guys walk guys. It's just not going to happen. So. If the guys are pounding the strike zone and they're having results because of pounding the strike zone, then you go with them. So I think that's the precedent we have to set here. If we're going to be the pitching staff that we got to be, then that's what we got to do. And now, granted, obviously, those other guys' stuff is outstanding, but we got to be able to utilize it. We got to throw it over the plate.